We're going to review the freeandclear.com interest expense income tax deduction benefit calculator, which is a mortgage calculator that allows you to understand the mortgage interest tax benefit over the life of the loan. To find the interest expense income tax deduction benefit calculator, simply click on the Mortgage Calculators tab on the top left of any page on freeandclear.com, and that will take you to a page that lists all the calculators available on Free and Clear. The interest expense income tax deduction benefit calculator is listed under Home Purchase Mortgage Calculators. If you click on the triangle to the right of the calculator title, it reveals a brief description of the calculator. I'm going to click on the calculator title, which will take us to the calculator page. I'm going to briefly review the interest tax deduction benefit before I walk through the calculator step by step. According to federal tax code, mortgage interest and property tax expenses are deductible against a borrower's gross income. The lower your reported gross income, the less tax you pay. Just to be clear, your mortgage interest expense is not directly deducted from the taxes you owe on a dollar-for-dollar basis, but rather reduces the gross income figure that is used to determine the amount of federal tax that you owe. Also, it is important to point out that given how mortgage amortization works and that you pay more interest expense at the beginning of the mortgage term than at the end of the term, for most mortgages the tax deduction benefit is the greatest at the beginning of the mortgage and gradually decreases over the life of the mortgage. I'm going to walk through the calculator now. As you can see from the way the page is laid out, the inputs to the calculator are on the left-hand side of the page, and the outputs to the calculator are on the right-hand side of the page. The inputs are the information that you provide or select, and the outputs are provided by the calculator after you click the calculate button. It's important to highlight that if you ever have a question about an input, simply hover your cursor over the icon to the left of any input rectangle, and it reveals a brief description of the input and the information required. The first input is the purchase price of the property. In this case, I'm going to input $300,000. The next input is the mortgage amount. I'm going to use $240,000 in this example, which means we're contributing a down payment of $60,000 or 20% of the purchase price of the property. Please note that the interest expense tax benefit only applies to a maximum mortgage amount of $1 million. The next input is mortgage type. If you click on the drop-down menu, it shows two options, fixed rate and interest only. I'm going to select fixed rate because that is the most popular type of mortgage. The next input is interest rate. If you hover your cursor over the icon to the left of the drop-down menu, it shows the current interest rate for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. In this case, the current interest rate is approximately 4.25%. If you click on the drop-down menu, it reveals a wide range of interest rate options, and I'm going to select 4.25%. The next input is mortgage term, or the length of the mortgage. If you click on the drop-down menu, it shows a range of term options from 10 years to 50 years. I'm going to select 30 years because that is the most common mortgage term. The next input is federal tax bracket. This is the highest federal tax rate that you pay on your income. I'm going to use 25% for our tax rate in this example. The last input is property tax rate. Property taxes vary by county, so check with your local authority to determine the property tax rate in your area. I'm going to select 1% from the drop-down menu because that's one of the more common property tax rates. We've submitted all of our inputs, and I'm going to click on the Calculate button, which will produce our outputs. The first output is the estimated monthly mortgage payment, which is based upon the mortgage amount, interest rate, and mortgage term that we have inputted. The next output is estimated total monthly housing expense, which includes your monthly mortgage payment plus property tax and homeowner's insurance expense, so the all-in cost of owning a property. The next output is interest expense income tax benefit in the first year of the mortgage, which is based on the loan amount and type and your federal tax bracket. For the next output, we divide the year one tax benefit by 12 to get the average monthly tax benefit in the first year of the mortgage. The next output is our total monthly housing expense minus the monthly tax benefit in year one. So you can see how the interest tax benefit serves to offset your monthly housing expense. The final output is the total tax deduction benefit over the life of the mortgage, or the tax benefit you will realize if you continue to make your scheduled monthly payments until the end of the mortgage. If you've selected a fixed rate mortgage, at the bottom of the page, you will find a chart that shows the annual and average monthly interest expense tax deduction over the life of the mortgage. If you hover your cursor over the bars on the graph, it shows the annual benefit. And if you hover your cursor over the green diamond in the line chart, it shows the average monthly tax benefit for that year. It's important to highlight that you can change the calculator inputs without having to refresh the page. So if I change the mortgage term from 30 years to 20 years and click the calculate button, our outputs are refreshed automatically and the graph is updated automatically without having to refresh the page. Additionally, please note that if you select interest only for mortgage type, because it's impossible to predict interest expense beyond the initial interest-only period of the loan, it's not possible to calculate the total tax deduction benefit or provide the tax benefit graph over the life of the mortgage. After you've reviewed the calculator scenarios that apply to you, click on the Compare Lenders button at the bottom of the outputs and review a table with interest rates and fees for lenders in your area. If you have any questions about the interest expense income tax deduction benefit calculator or any mortgage topic, you can always click on the Ask an Expert button at the top of any page and it will take you to the free and clear Ask a Mortgage Expert feature where you can submit your question. The feature is free to use and we never spam. We also encourage you to review other resources on freeandclear.com that cover the mortgage interest tax deduction benefit, including our comprehensive review of the topic and example in our home purchase mortgage guide. Thank you for reviewing the freeandclear.com interest expense income tax deduction benefit calculator.